Our anniversary dinner aimed to rekindle our love, but my wife confessed to cheating for 2 years. She expected me to beg, but I was prepared with proof, a lawyer, and a plan to expose everything. It had taken weeks to plan the perfect anniversary dinner. I pulled out all the stops. Olivia's favorite restaurant, which she hadn't stopped talking about since our 3rd anniversary. I made sure to reserve the table by the window, overlooking the city skyline, and even arranged for the staff to bring out her favorite bottle of wine, adorned with a ribbon. I went the extra mile this time, picked out a custom necklace with our wedding date engraved on a small pendant, and practiced my speech about how much she meant to me. I thought this night would rekindle the spark between us and put an end to the distance that had settled in over the past few months. When we were seated, everything seemed perfect. Olivia smiled, that familiar, radiant smile that used to light up my world. I let myself believe that maybe, just maybe, we could work through the rough patch. I was hopeful, naive even. Midway through dinner, just as the wine arrived and I was about to raise my glass for a toast, Olivia leaned forward, her expression unnervingly calm. "I've been cheating on you for 2 years," she said, voice steady and devoid of emotion. "And I'm leaving you." Felt like the world tilted. The glass hovered midair as I stared at her, waiting for some sign that it was a joke, a twisted, cruel prank. But Olivia didn't waver. The cold clarity of her confession hung in the air, suffocating me. A rush of anger, betrayal, and humiliation surged through me. But instead of succumbing to those emotions, I did something that surprised even myself. I smiled. I raised my glass as though nothing had happened. "To your new life," I said, my voice as steady as hers. Her brows furrowed slightly, confusion flickering across her face. She had expected tears, yelling, maybe even begging. She didn't expect composure. I leaned back, taking a deliberate sip of the wine. "So," I asked calmly, "does he make you happy?" Olivia shifted uncomfortably in her seat, her confident facade cracking ever so slightly. "It's complicated," she muttered, avoiding my gaze. That hesitation told me everything. She wasn't sure. She thought she was trading up, leaving behind a predictable and boring life. But now, faced with my unexpected reaction, she didn't seem so certain anymore. The waiter approached with the dessert menu, blissfully unaware of the emotional bomb Olivia had just dropped. She waved him off, but I held up a hand. "I'll take a look," I said casually. I ordered a slice of cheesecake for myself and asked for a coffee. "You should try the creme brulee," I suggested, looking up at her. She stared at me, incredulous. "How can you act like this isn't a big deal?" "Because it isn't," I replied, setting the menu aside. "You've made your decision, Olivia. There's no point in me getting upset about it now." That wasn't entirely true. Inside, I felt like my heart was being ripped apart, but I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of seeing me break. When dessert arrived, I excused myself to step outside. The air was cool, and I took a deep breath, trying to calm the chaos in my mind. I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I hadn't used in years. "Nathan, my lawyer." "Nathan," I said when he picked up. "I need your help tonight." He didn't ask questions, he never did. That was the thing about Nathan. He understood the gravity of a situation without needing details. He just told me to send what I had and that he'd be ready to meet in the morning. With that, I made one more call. This time to Alan, the private investigator I had hired months ago, when I first noticed Olivia's late nights and secretive behavior. "It's happening," I told him. "She admitted it. I need everything we've got ready to go." Alan assured me it was all set. I felt a small measure of relief. Returning to the table, I found Olivia hunched over her phone, her face lit by the dim glow of the screen, probably texting him, her new, complicated partner. "How will you explain this to the kids?" I asked, sliding back into my seat. Her face faltered, and for the first time that night, she looked genuinely unsure. I don't know," she said. Of course, she didn't. Olivia had planned this betrayal down to the last detail, but she hadn't thought about the consequences. She hadn't considered how it would affect our children, our family. I allowed myself a small, private smile as I finished my dessert. She thought she had the upper hand, that she was walking away with her head held high. But she had no idea what was coming. I wasn't going to fall apart. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of being the devastated, pitiful husband. I had prepared for this. I was ready to let her face the consequences of her choices. After dessert, I sat there watching Olivia, noting every detail. The way she held her phone like it was a lifeline. The way her fingers trembled as she texted. I knew she was messaging him, probably telling him how unexpectedly calm I was and how this wasn't going the way she had planned. I leaned forward, casually stirring my coffee. "You know, Olivia, it's funny. I've been preparing for this night for months. You thought you were blindsiding me, but I've seen this coming for a long time. Her eyes snapped up and a hint of fear flashed across her face. What do you mean? I just smiled. Did you think those late nights, the secretive phone calls, the way you pulled away, it all went unnoticed? I'm not stupid, Olivia. She stammered, trying to find the right words. I didn't think you knew. Oh, I knew, I replied smoothly. I just needed proof. That's why I hired Alan. You remember Alan, don't you? The guy who took those lovely photos of you and David entering the hotel. Her face drained of color. You hired a private investigator? I took a sip of my coffee, savoring the taste. You gave me no choice. I wasn't going to accuse you without evidence. And now I have plenty. Olivia opened her mouth to protest, but I wasn't done. You've been lying to me, to the kids, to everyone who thought we had a happy marriage. I've got dates, times, locations, everything. You thought you could waltz in here, drop your little confession, and walk away like the victim. Not happening. She looked genuinely shaken, her bravado completely shattered. Marcus, I didn't mean for it to go this far. I raised an eyebrow. 2 years, Olivia. 2 years of lies and betrayal. You don't just stumble into that. You chose this. Every time you met him, every time you lied to my face, you made a choice. Tears pooled in her eyes, but I didn't feel any sympathy. Do the kids know? She whispered, voice barely audible. Not yet, I said coldly. But they will. I'm not going to let you walk away from this pretending to be the heartbroken wife who just fell out of love. You're going to own what you did. The waiter returned with the check, glancing nervously between us. I handed him my card and forced a smile. Thank you for the excellent service, I said politely. As he walked away, Olivia wiped at her eyes, clearly trying to regain some control. Why are you doing this? Doing what? I asked, leaning back. You're the one who chose to cheat, Olivia. I'm just making sure you don't get to control the story. She looked down, fingers twisting the napkin into knots. I could see her processing the fact that her carefully constructed world was about to collapse. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of walking out with a clear conscience. When the bill was settled, I stood up, slipping my jacket back on. Go ahead and call David, I said calmly. Let him know I'll be seeing him soon. I think we have a lot to discuss. Her head snapped up, panic in her eyes. You're not going to hurt him, are you? I laughed, shaking my head. No, Olivia. I'm not like you. I don't destroy people for fun. But I am going to make sure he knows exactly what kind of woman he's leaving his wife for. She looked like she wanted to say something, but I didn't wait. I walked out of the restaurant, the crisp night air hitting my face like a wake-up call. As I made my way to the car, I dialed Nathan again. She admitted it, I said when he picked up. Prepare the papers. I'm done. Nathan didn't sound surprised. About time, he replied. I'll have everything ready by morning. As I drove home, I felt a strange mix of relief and anger. The woman I thought I'd spend my life with had betrayed me, but I wasn't going to let her dictate how this ended. I had made my decision. Olivia was going to face the consequences whether she liked it or not. The next morning, I woke up early and made coffee. The house was eerily quiet. I hadn't slept much, replaying the dinner conversation over and over. Olivia had spent 2 years living a double life, and somehow I'd convinced myself it was just a rough patch. Nathan called around 9 a.m., his tone brisk and professional. Everything's ready. You want to come in this afternoon? I'll be there, I replied, trying to keep the weariness out of my voice. After hanging up, I checked my phone, no texts from Olivia. Just as well. I wasn't interested in hearing whatever excuses she'd come up with overnight. I wasn't giving her the chance to manipulate me anymore. I drove to Nathan's office, the city buzzing with morning commuters. When I arrived, he was already waiting, a neat stack of papers on his desk. I've got the divorce petition ready, he said, handing me a pen. Given the evidence, you'll have no problem getting custody and a favorable settlement. I hesitated, the reality hitting me harder than I'd expected. This was it, the end of our marriage. I signed the papers, the finality of it making my chest feel tight. Nathan looked at me, his expression softer now. You're doing the right thing. Don't second guess it. I nodded, trying to convince myself he was right. After leaving the office, I decided to go for a drive. I ended up at the park where Olivia and I had our first date. I sat on one of the old wooden benches, staring at the lake where we used to sit and feed the ducks. Memories flooded in. How we laughed that day when a duck stole her sandwich. How she leaned against me, whispering that she wanted us to always be that happy. I closed my eyes, blocking out the memory. That Olivia didn't exist anymore. She had been replaced by someone who didn't value loyalty or commitment. As I sat there, my phone buzzed. A text from Jasmine, my younger sister. Hey, heard from Olivia. She's been calling Mom, saying you're being cruel and vindictive. What's going on? I sighed, already anticipating this. I dialed Jasmine's number, and she picked up immediately. What's she telling you? I asked. That you're punishing her, refusing to talk, and being unreasonable. She's making it sound like you're overreacting. I almost laughed. Of course, Olivia was spinning the story. She's been cheating on me for 2 years, I said flatly. Silence on the other end. Then, what? Are you serious? Dead serious. I have proof. I confronted her last night. She admitted it. Jasmine let out a low whistle. Wow, I never would have guessed. She always acted so devoted. Yeah, well, I guess she's good at pretending. Jasmine hesitated. Do you need anything? Want me to come over? No, I'm okay. I just needed someone to know the truth. I'm filing for divorce. Good, she said without hesitation. You deserve better. After the call, I felt a bit lighter. At least someone knew the real story. I wasn't going to let Olivia rewrite history to make herself look like the victim. I stayed at the park a while longer, letting the reality of everything sink in. My phone buzzed again. This time a message from Alan. Got everything organized and backed up. Let me know if you need me to release the evidence. I texted back, hold off for now. I'll let you know. Driving home, I passed the small diner where Olivia and I used to have Sunday breakfasts. I realized I hadn't been there in months. She'd stopped suggesting it around the same time she started pulling away. Now it all made sense. When I got back to the house, Olivia's car was gone. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. Inside, I found a note on the counter. Marcus, I know I've hurt you. I never meant for things to turn out like this. I'm staying with a friend for now. Please don't make this uglier than it has to be. We need to talk. Olivia. I crumpled the note and tossed it in the trash. I had nothing left to say to her. I wasn't the one who destroyed our marriage. She did. And now she was going to have to live with the fallout. A week after the anniversary dinner, life had settled into a strange new rhythm. Olivia hadn't come back to the house, and honestly, I didn't want her to. I was slowly getting used to the silence, finding a kind of bitter peace in it. The kids had noticed something was off, of course. My oldest, Jake, asked why Mom wasn't coming home, and I had to tell him that she needed some space. I didn't have the heart to explain more than that. Not yet. I was sorting through the garage when my phone buzzed. Another message from Olivia, full of vague apologies and requests to talk. I ignored it just like I'd been ignoring her calls. Instead, I focused on the task at hand, organizing the chaos she'd left behind. Around noon, my sister Jasmine showed up with lunch. She didn't even knock, just let herself in. I brought sandwiches, she announced, setting the bag on the counter. I gave her a weak smile. Thanks, you didn't have to. She shrugged, grabbing a soda from the fridge. It's either this or let you wallow in solitude. Not happening. We ate in relative silence for a bit, Jasmine giving me space to process. Eventually, she asked, so, any updates? I shook my head. She's staying with some friends. Keeps texting me, though. Wants to work things out. Jasmine made a disgusted noise. After what she did, she's delusional. You're not considering it, right? I looked at her, feeling tired. No, I've already filed for divorce. It's just surreal, you know? She nodded, her expression softening. Of course it is. You guys were together forever. But you're doing the right thing. She's the one who broke it, not you. After lunch, Jasmine helped me clear out some old boxes. While sorting through a pile of holiday decorations, she suddenly asked, do you think she even regrets it? Or is she just upset she got caught? I hadn't really thought about it that way. Honestly, I think she regrets losing control of the narrative. She never thought I'd find out, let alone react the way I did. Jasmine snorted. She probably thought you'd beg her to stay. Some people are just so used to getting their way. We spent the rest of the afternoon cleaning and talking about everything but Olivia. It was the first time in a while that I felt somewhat normal. That night, just as I was getting ready for bed, my phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't Olivia. It was Alan. We've got a problem, he said without preamble. My stomach dropped. What happened? She's been talking to David. They're planning something, probably trying to spin the story their way. David's worried about his job. Apparently word got out about the affair and he's blaming you. I couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of it. Blaming me? For exposing his cheating? Yup. Wants to play the victim. I've got recordings though. He's worried his firm will let him go. Olivia's telling him you're being cruel and manipulative. I pinched the bridge of my nose. Can you send me the recordings? Already did. I'll keep an ear out for more. After the call, I listened to the recordings. David was clearly panicking, ranting about how I was out to ruin his life. Olivia was playing the sympathetic role, saying she never expected me to be so vindictive. I forwarded the recordings to Nathan with a note, just in case. I couldn't help but shake my head at how twisted their logic was. They had an affair. They lied for 2 years. And now they wanted to blame me for the fallout? Unbelievable. I closed my laptop and took a deep breath. I wasn't going to let them rewrite history. They wanted to play the victims? Fine. Let them. The truth was already out there and I wasn't about to back down. The next few days were a blur of phone calls and legal meetings. Nathan was handling everything with his usual efficiency, making sure I had all my bases covered. It turned out David was indeed panicking. His firm had gotten wind of the affair and was less than pleased with the negative attention. Alan's recordings made it clear that David was looking to do damage control even if it meant throwing Olivia under the bus. It was almost amusing in a dark way. Olivia had sacrificed our marriage for this guy and now he was ready to cut his losses and leave her to deal with the fallout alone. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. One evening, I was sorting through some old photo albums when I came across our wedding pictures. There we were smiling, full of hope and love. I couldn't help but feel a pang of nostalgia remembering the girl I thought Olivia was. I wasn't grieving her anymore, I was grieving the version of her I had once believed in. My phone buzzed with a message from Jasmine. "Hey, Mom just called. Olivia went over to her place crying about how you're ruining her life. Mom didn't buy it, but just giving you a heads up." Great. Olivia was now trying to manipulate my family into sympathizing with her. I called Jasmine back, needing to vent. "She's really trying to play the victim, huh?" I said, not bothering to hide my frustration. Jasmine snorted. "Yeah. Mom didn't have any of it though. She told Olivia that cheating for 2 years tends to have consequences." I think Olivia stormed out after that. "Good," I replied. "I'm not about to let her twist this. She's trying to make it seem like I'm on some revenge campaign when all I did was react to her betrayal." "You're handling it better than most would," Jasmine said. "Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't let her drag you down." After hanging up, I found myself scrolling through social media, curious if Olivia had tried to spin her story online. Sure enough, I found a vague post about feeling betrayed by someone she thought would always love her. The comments were split, some people offering sympathy, others clearly knowing the real story and calling her out. I resisted the urge to comment. There was no point in engaging in public drama. I wasn't about to turn this into a social media war. I had my plan, and I was sticking to it. The next morning, Nathan called with an update. "David's trying to settle," he said. "He's terrified of the evidence getting to his bosses. He's willing to pay a substantial amount to keep the recordings out of court." I consider that. "And Olivia? She's been served. Didn't take it well, apparently. Tried to claim you're just doing this to hurt her." I let out a bitter laugh. "She still thinks she's the victim. That's how people like her operate," Nathan replied. "Just keep your head on straight. We've got this." That evening, I decided to take the kids out for pizza. They've been troopers through all this, and I wanted to give them a night of normalcy. As we sat in the booth, Jake looked up at me with his big, serious eyes. "Dad," he said, his voice cautious. "Is Mom coming back?" I took a deep breath. "No, buddy. Mom and I, we aren't going to be together anymore." He looked down, playing with his napkin. "Is it because she doesn't love us anymore?" My heart broke a little. "No, Jake. Your mom loves you. Sometimes adults just make mistakes that hurt other people. But that doesn't mean she doesn't love you." He nodded slowly, but I could tell he didn't fully understand. How could he? Even I didn't really understand how someone could throw away everything we'd built. Later that night, after the kids were asleep, I sat in the living room, reflecting on everything that had happened. I wasn't just angry anymore, I was sad. Sad for what could have been, for the life I thought we were building. But that sadness didn't drown me. It didn't consume me like it once did. Instead, it fueled my determination to protect my family from any more pain Olivia might try to inflict. I had to stay strong. Not just for myself, but for my kids. They needed stability, and I was going to make sure they had it, no matter what. As I sat there, I realized that despite everything, I was going to be okay. I wasn't broken. I wasn't defeated. I was just moving forward, one step at a time. Update. A few weeks after filing for divorce, life started to find a new rhythm. The kids were adjusting slowly but surely. I made sure to keep their routines consistent. Same bedtime, same Saturday morning pancakes. It wasn't easy, but we were managing. One evening, while I was helping Jake with his math homework, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Olivia. "Can we talk? I need to see the kids." I took a deep breath before typing back. "We'll arrange something through my lawyer. I'm not discussing this directly with you anymore." A few minutes later, she replied, "You're being unreasonable. I'm still their mother." I didn't bother responding. I knew where this was headed. Olivia didn't want to talk to the kids. She wanted to manipulate me. She had already started telling mutual friends that I was keeping her from them, trying to paint herself as the victim once again. After putting the kids to bed, I called Nathan. "She's pushing to see them. I don't want to keep them from her, but I also don't want to expose them to more drama." Nathan's voice was calm and reassuring. "We'll set up a formal visitation schedule. Supervised at first, considering her erratic behavior lately. You don't have to do this alone." I nodded, feeling a sense of relief. "Thanks, Nathan." The next day, I received a call from Olivia's sister, Beth. Unlike Olivia, Beth had always been reasonable and grounded. She sounded hesitant. "Marcus, I just wanted to check in. Olivia's been all over the place. I'm not saying you should forgive her, but I'm worried about her." "I appreciate the concern," I replied, keeping my tone neutral. "But Olivia made her choices. I'm not responsible for fixing what she broke." Beth sighed. "I know. Just, if you hear anything that makes you worry about her safety, let me know. I think she's hit rock bottom." After the call, I couldn't help but feel a twinge of guilt. Despite everything, a part of me didn't want to see her completely fall apart. But I reminded myself that it wasn't my job to rescue her from the consequences of her actions. The following weekend, Jasmine and I took the kids to a local fair. It was the first real outing we'd had since everything went down. Jake and Lily were thrilled, running from one game booth to another, their laughter a balm to my battered spirit. As we were waiting in line for funnel cakes, I spotted a familiar face. David. He was sitting alone on a bench near the Ferris wheel, looking disheveled and lost. Couldn't help but smirk. Word had spread that his firm was letting him go, thanks to the scandal. He glanced up, catching my eye, and for a moment, I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Jasmine nudged me. Isn't that? Yeah, karma's catching up with him. We didn't approach him. I wasn't interested in a confrontation, especially with the kids around. Instead, we spent the day making memories, trying to build something positive out of the mess Olivia had created. Later that evening, I received a text from Alan. Check your email. You're going to want to see this. When I opened the attachment, my eyes widened. It was a social media post from Olivia, an elaborate apology. She admitted to the affair, acknowledged that she had been selfish, and stated that she never expected to lose everything. It was raw, unpolished, and clearly written in a moment of desperation. I forwarded it to Nathan, just in case it came up during the divorce proceedings. Part of me wanted to believe that Olivia was finally taking responsibility, but I couldn't help but question the timing. Was this genuine remorse, or just another ploy to gain sympathy? Jasmine read over my shoulder. Wow, do you think she actually means it? I shrugged. Maybe. Or maybe she's just trying to get people back on her side. That night, as I lay in bed, I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't over. Olivia's confession seemed too neat, too perfectly crafted to garner pity. I wasn't about to let my guard down now, not when the kids and I were finally starting to heal. For the first time in a while, I fell asleep without feeling that gnawing ache in my chest. I had done everything I could to protect my family. Whatever Olivia's next move was, I was ready. Months passed and life started to take on a new normal. The divorce was finalized and I was granted primary custody of the kids. Olivia got supervised visitation, which surprisingly she didn't contest. Maybe she had finally accepted the reality of the situation, or maybe she was just too tired to fight anymore. One afternoon, as I was cleaning out the garage, Jake came in holding his tablet. Dad, someone's talking about Mom online. I took the tablet from him, seeing a video from a local news segment. The headline read, Former Marketing Executive Speaks Out About Scandal. I clicked on it, and there was Olivia sitting in a dimly lit room, looking worn and regretful. I made mistakes, she said, her voice shaky. I hurt the people I loved. I thought I could have it all, excitement, stability, but I was wrong. I lost my family. I lost myself. I didn't know whether to feel angry or pity. Maybe both. But I wasn't about to let Jake see it. I handed him back the tablet. Hey, buddy, how about we work on that treehouse today? His face lit up and we spent the rest of the afternoon hammering boards and painting the wood bright blue, his favorite color. When Jasmine showed up later with pizza, she caught me standing back, looking at her handiwork. You did good, she said, nodding at the half-finished structure. I smiled. It feels good to build something. To see progress, you know? She patted my shoulder. You're doing great. The kids are happy. That's what matters. Over the next few weeks, I heard more bits and pieces about Olivia. The interview didn't go over well. People weren't ready to forgive and forget, and she had to shut down her social media after the backlash. David, on the other hand, had relocated entirely. Word was that he was working at some small firm in a different state, trying to rebuild his career. One evening, after the kids had gone to bed, my phone buzzed with a new message from Olivia. I hesitated before opening it, unsure of what to expect. I know you have no reason to believe me, but I am truly sorry, it read. I've lost everything, and it's my fault. I don't expect forgiveness, but I needed to say it. I stared at the screen for a long time. Finally, I typed back, I hope you find peace. I didn't hate her. Not anymore. I couldn't forgive her, but I didn't want to carry the weight of anger either. Letting go wasn't easy, but it was necessary. That weekend, Claire, a friend from the neighborhood, invited us over for a barbecue. She'd been a quiet presence throughout the whole ordeal, offering to help with the kids and occasionally bringing over homemade cookies. As the sun set, I found myself laughing at one of her terrible dad jokes, feeling lighter than I had in months. She looked at me, eyes soft and understanding. You're allowed to be happy, you know, she said gently. I nodded. I know. I'm just figuring out what that looks like now. We spent the evening watching the kids play, her hand brushing against mine once or twice. I didn't pull away. That night, as I tucked the kids into bed, Jake asked, Are we going to be okay, Dad? I ruffled his hair, giving him a reassuring smile. Yeah, buddy. We're going to be just fine. As I closed his door, I realized that, despite everything, I was finally ready to move on. Olivia's betrayal had shattered the life I once knew, but it didn't destroy me. I had survived, and now it was time to rebuild, not just for myself, but for my kids. That night, as I sat on the porch with Claire, I felt something I hadn't in a long time, hope. The road ahead wasn't going to be easy, but I wasn't walking it alone. And for the first time in a long while, that was enough. Hope you enjoyed this story as much as I do. Help this small channel grow by hitting that like button, subscribing, and sharing with your friends. Every bit of support means the world. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.